Hello, hello. How's everyone doing? Sorry for the delay. I meant to adjust the time because I started to run late, but I did not. So I know some of you are waiting for quite a while. So that's my bad. I'm glad y'all are here. Let me know if you can hear me okay. And we are just about to get started soon. Let me just test my cameras really quick. I was working on the Wilder tutorial quite a lot recently. So here's a little sneak peek at some of the shaping. It's obviously not done yet, but we're doing good there. And then let's see, this is me. Hello, hello. Okay, and this should be the Discord with the death battle. And I'm back up here. Okay, cool. So I think everything is just about working all right. This is blocking a little bit, but it's gonna be okay. We are for a majority going to be looking at Discord today because we're doing a review of a lot of the death battle. So let me also get the recording going so I can edit it into a video. I think we're doing pretty good over here. Let me see how people are doing. I saw a lot of y'all in chat. What's up, Keon? What's up, Jason? And let's see who else we got. How's it going, Como? Thanks for waiting. Thank you for entertaining the chat for me as well for a bit. Thank you so much. What's up, Spot? Thanks for tuning in. Ishan, hello. Thanks for tuning in. What would you say the paper thickness threshold is for folding the square twist samurai or the two-headed dragon V2 study? That's a good question. I think the square twist samurai, you can go up to like 50 GSM. 60 GSM is kind of pushing it at too thick, but it might be possible. The two-headed dragon, you want to be very thin though. So I would say 40. No, maybe like 35 is the max for the two-headed dragon, just because the teeth, they'll be really hard if the paper's too thick, and then also the transitions for the neck will get crazy thick if that paper isn't, proper. Even though it's 70 centimeters for the two-headed dragon, it's a lot more punishing. Shantanu, hello. Thank you for tuning in. Nicholas, folding J Ill's horse right now, watching. Ooh, that's a good model. J Ill is very, very talented. So awesome. Enjoy folding while you're watching the stream, and I'll mostly be just yapping, as they say, about origami. Po. Hello. We can hear you. Okay, camera works. Awesome. No echoes. I think everything looks pretty good. All right, cool. So let me quickly throw the link for this stream in Discord. So y'all can see that really quick. While I'm doing that, you can stare at the Wilder. Here is this. I was hoping to actually, while Como is here, Paper Tree has Origami Palooza coming up. It's an origami event. There's a contest, and I was like, okay, if I finish this in time, maybe it'll be good enough to submit. If not, maybe I'll submit something else. But yeah, we'll see if I finish in time. The deadline for sign up is in 2 days, and I have to ship it. So we'll see if that happens. But it's like almost there. It needs maybe, I mean, for the tutorial, well, it's gonna need like another hour plus maybe, and then in terms of like actual folding, maybe like 4 more hours of shaping. Maybe a little bit less if I'm fast. We shall see. Okay, let me share this with live now. A little bit. All right. I think most of you are already here hanging out. So, okay. here now. And if there's any Origami by Voice members, feel free to leave something in the members Discord for me to review if you are interested. So we haven't had a review there in a little while. Now, trying to drop something in. Boom. Okay. All right. Logistical stuff out of the way. Who's ready to check out some cool origami? We have quite a bit to go through. I meant to go through each round like I've done in the past, but I got way too caught up in other videos that I needed to make. So now we're making it at least before the next round, and then we'll do the upcoming battles separately and the finals. And I think that should be pretty exciting. Boys, I'm currently making your sword and shield model. It's so fun. Ooh, that is a very fun model. I think that's one of my most fun models in general, as well as one of, yeah, as a tutorial, it works really well. Bit below 60 should be good. Yeah, okay, cool. DT is perfect for pretty much every single one of my models. So you'll be safe there. Applications to 817. Chris already signed up. Sweet. Again, ads. Thank you for watching the ads. It helps support the channel, but I'm also sorry you have to watch ads. Metallic look is super cool. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so after the shaping tutorial's done, I'm going to be making a painting tutorial. Now, it's not going to be like a tricolored paint. Like this one, I did the tricolor paint just because that character is colored like that. But I will be teaching kind of a generalized metallic look that's a little bit more advanced than this that I've been practicing for a while. So it should work pretty well for this. And if anything, we'll do the duo color just for the scarf, because the scarf technically can color change because it's like here. So it technically could color change. This one even could color change if you invert the flap and use these ones instead. Right now, this current structure is not color changed. So it's not, but we'll see. We'll see what I think when we're done with shaping this one, what we'll get. I don't think we post links for. Do you have a link to Wenjo? Okay, so unfortunately in the United States we don't have access to Wenjo anymore. So I've taken down the link for Wenjo. Anything on eBay currently or a store that is titled as Wenjo isn't real Wenjo rice paper. It's a Zhuan calligraphy paper. And in which case is totally fine. Like you're not going to notice the difference of it. But I've replaced it with the Hiromi Kozo mix. And then I might replace it with this, which is Kakura paper from Papertree. Because it is essentially acts the same as what Wenjo would fold like, but is more accessible and is kind of from more legitimate businesses, right? So at least you're more confident in what you're receiving as the real things. And yeah, and again, you're not going to know the difference between folding with it. It's relatively the same. So yeah, but it's on my website, obb.design. You can just head there. GT, how's it going? Almost done with the dry shaping. The dry shaping is done. Almost done with the wet shaping. So this is half, maybe like not really, yeah, like halfway done wet shaping. Maybe a little less than half. I'm not too sure. We pretty much did the torso and the part of the legs. It was in the video description. Okay. sign up for the Origami Masterclass. Oh, awesome. With Brian, that is going to be the experience of a lifetime. Where can we find info on the paid membership? I saw it once and couldn't find it yet. Oh, that's a good question. I think if you just are on YouTube, there should be a join button next to my name. And then I think there are perk tiers. Let me see if I can advertise myself here real quick. Let's see. Okay, I don't want it to like fully loop, but yeah, it's like, okay, it's not like fully appearing, but like you can kind of see the join button right there. And then I think that will take you to the right spot. Okay, let me put this back. I think this one was Orient. I don't see it. Okay, we're just gonna, boom. Okay, so before we get going, and I'm gonna continue to just try to chat with y'all as we go. I think I'll at least start to introduce the topic, and then we'll try to get through all of these. I don't exactly know if I'm going to be able to review every single one, but I think what I'll do is try to get through every round. And then I also want to check out my favorite prelim folds. Those ones we probably can't get all the way through because that's a lot. But once in a lifetime opportunity. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. You're going to get some skills that like you'll probably take on with your folding career for a lifetime. I wish I could go. Unfortunately, that weekend I can't. But I'm glad you're gonna be able to go. You'll have to let me know how it is in a stream after that masterclass. That's super cool. Oh, thanks. And when using the Legion mulberry paper, do you have to double? No. Doubling it would be way too thick. These are some good questions, actually. So let me see. Something made from the Legion Moldberry. I think right, so I'm trying to find stuff that's like just a paper, not painted. Well, all right, we'll just use the painted one. Like this is already very thick. The corner here is one layer and then it's paint, or I guess it's two layers. Part of the center is just one layer thick. So it's a much thicker paper, so it can hold itself. You know, obviously there's some paint to help, some methyl cellulose to help, but overall the paper is very thick on its own. You do need to treat it with methyl cellulose to make it really nice to fold. But it's a very hefty paper, whereas like this Kakura paper is much thinner. So a single layer is you can really see through it. And so that works when there is like thicker parts of the model, or parts that have more layers that need to squish down. So in this case, when we're doing the Wilder, the design's a little less efficient. So there's a lot more craziness going on, and the thinness helps with the shaping because the layers can compress into itself a little bit more naturally. So this paper might be too thin for the Rathalos armor, but it is very good for this Wilder design. Good question. Smuggle me in a backpack. What happened to Masterclass? Will Brian teach you how to fold? Pretty much he'll just probably get a gauge of where you are skill level wise and kind of the ideas of what you want to learn, and then just level you up a ton. So part of that could be folding models. Part of that could be designing your own models, working on shaping. I know Brian is a huge person on, people need to shape more and more, like longer and better. So that's probably a big deal. And you can tell in his models that they're shaped very nicely. They're very lifelike. I think CJ has cut both Hermie Gampy and MC treated mulberry thin, the Kozo mix into squares for sale. Okay, so Paper Tree will have links for the Hermie Kozo mix, which I believe both. Actually, I might have done this at Elysian Mulberry, but like I put multiple pieces together to make it really big. But I've got quite a lot of Hermie Kozo mix folds. I think this might have been the leftover Kakura. But yeah, I'll be updating my website and updating that paper list with some new fun stuff that I like. Because as I've been testing the Paper Tree papers, I found some that I really enjoy. Nar, shaping tutorial. Yes. Oh, what's up, Neil? Hello, hello. Hi, your DCRD. Thank you for tuning into the stream. Thank you. Thanks to your glue stick paper class and crease pen class. I was able to make this Unbeetle. Awesome. Did you use the glue stick double tissue to make the Sun Beetle? It's not the best method, but it certainly does work, I guess. Cur is much more convenient to treat and cut because it's available in sheets. Oh yeah, I can imagine. No dealing with the rolls. Hopefully he'll bring some. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll probably at least list the squares that he's done with the Hermie Mulberry Thin, and that's nice that it's already MC treated. So people in the chat, if you guys are looking for papers that you don't have to MC treat yourself, you totally can. I was doing a private lesson with one of my students today, and they actually just picked up a bunch of paper from Paper Tree, including some of the Kozo, and so they're quite excited. Anytime there's access to larger squares, I think that's pretty fun. From Soft needs to see my work. Oh, that would be really cool. That was the idea of the first Wilder model, and like hopefully they would maybe see it. I don't know. Have you grown plants with plant before? I've not, Neil. That might be a bucket list thing to do at Peacock. But he will be there this year, so that's super exciting. Can you give some tips for folding Sword and Shield face? I think most of the tips in the tutorial are already pretty good, but since we're here, I'll give you a little bit. Here he is. Boom. Also, while we're at it, let me show you this cool thing my friend made. So this guy is part of my local folding group, and he's really into woodworking, and made me this box to store all my kami in so that I can transport it in like my backpack nicely, and I don't have to worry about that plasticky stuff to access the paper all the time. Isn't that pretty cool? And then like when I'm done folding something, well, it's a little bit too full right now, but yeah, you could just put it in here and then close it up. Right. As long as it's small enough. Sorry, I just want to show that. I thought it was pretty cool. All right. Okay, so for the Sword and Shield, the face is actually very simple. So I think in the tutorial I show you just start with folding corners up, but like this is folded down below and it leaves a gap. But that's really gonna hold in the layer so that it can kind of pop out. And the mistake I see is sometimes people make the face too flat, and they just like, maybe they even just glue these in too far. This one is mostly done without glue. The only glue was really back here to keep just a compression done, but naturally from folding and pressing the head in sideways with these layers and then folding it like that, it kind of holds together and gets this 3D shape. So pay attention to keeping the face not too flat, have this be like sitting over the face enough, and then just be very careful with these folds. And that's like the main tip I have, probably. It's a nice box. It is a nice box. He will be at Peacock as well for those going to Peacock. I'll also be showing, not right now, but he framed one of my origami collection, and he'll be bringing some of those shadow boxes to Peacock to sell for people who want to display their origami a little bit nicer. Store cabbage in the department, and it's just as good as cash to anyone at the conventions. That's true. Folding from the first tutorial. Not shaping. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. You mean for the collapse? The collapse is just like 1 unit flaps. If you fold the basic human, it's actually the same flaps. So, what's your opinion on Shenlong? There's some long designs. I don't know if he's actually from Shenlong, but kind of looks like it. This looks pretty cool. I think it's cool as origami. See you, Milky. Thanks for tuning in for a little bit. Okay. My brain was tired enough to think the crease pattern is a bird base. I think it's kind of the essence of a bird base. It's not actually the bird base crease pattern, but it's pretty close. Okay, let's start going through some of these. I'll answer your questions as we go, but we'll never get through this if I do enjoy chatting with all y'all, and you're having some really good questions. So keep asking. I'll try to get to them. Let's scroll all the way up from the death battle. I'm not going to do an intro today because I'm going to do the intro just as part of the video when I edit it. Okay, here is prelims now over. Did people submit in this? I don't think so. I think they submitted here with all the submissions. So we got to scroll back a little ways. All right, here we are at some of these submissions. Let's go through them quickly, and then we're going to go into the rounds. Shaping contest. Let's see where the first one appears. This is funny. Design contest. Okay, here is death battle registration. Yeah, so the way we started the death battle this year is we had people do like a prelim round just so we could get, even if it is someone's first time designing, they can at least start and know that they can design. And that makes the battles a little bit more interesting because we were able to seed the battles and get some good rounds even in the first rounds. Like people had to try very hard. So that's pretty cool. We'll go through this quickly. Just seeing some of the top or some of my favorites for the prelim rounds. This one we have a spiny lobster from Kermac. I don't know the exact type of lobster. It's got, maybe it's just a spiny lobster. Very cool from Kermac, very complex looking. Simple seahorse. Looks like this is a type of fish. It's pretty neat. This is from Casey. This is like a different version of attack on the Kraken type essence. This is really neat for their approach because it's in a symmetrical manner where the ship is just getting devoured by the Kraken. So that's kind of a neat like design approach. Relatively simple. So I really like that a lot. Very creative. Cormac already submitted the first one. We'll kind of ignore that. This is by Plop. I think this is the first plop. There's a lot of plops right now. This is kind of like a meme in Origami-dan. So if you see something with plop or plop it in someone else's name, but I think this is just normal plop. You can confirm that in the chat if you'd like to dox yourself there. Very cool. Nembrotha cristata. I do not exactly know what that is. I'm guessing it's some sort of deep sea creature. Very neat. We got a sea turtle. It's kind of cool shape for the shell. Different kind of approach. Death battle, qual submission, water. This is quite interesting. So it's like pouring out. This is like Minecraft water where it like infinitely cascades wider and wider down blocks, right? That's kind of cool. So we got the jar up here going all the way down. This is by MJ Bicycle, or in this case right now, just Bicycle, who you will see in my origami convention vlog has some really, really insane designs. And we might see some insane designs during this death battle a little bit later. For the prelims, I'm not really critiquing these or judging these too hard because it's not in a battle. But I think when we go to the death battle rounds, I really want to like nitpick at like, why did this fold lose? Or was this a good design? Was it a bad design? But for here, we're just gonna be kind of chill. This is really cute. Swimming T-Rex from Prehistoric Planet. I like that. It's like little flippers. But we got actually a really nicely rendered dinosaur head. Here we got surfer person. Nice. The connection is from the foot. It's pretty cool. Very simple. This is a salmon. The salmon body shape is almost correct. The fin up here is not. It's a cool looking fish. I am around salmon a lot because my dad catches them all the time, and then I cook it. So, it's not quite salmon looking, but I like how dynamic and like different it's looking. It's like it's swimming. So maybe that was the goal of it. It's just this fin is a little too big, and then the adipose fin is gigantic. Ideally, the ones you're allowed to keep when you fish them yourselves, they'll have this cut off. So this is a wild salmon. If it's still on, we got intellectual extinction, going fishing, which is kind of funny that the fish are back to back. We've got Venus in the shell. That's an interesting design, especially for a humanoid. We have Faraz doing Faraz things. Very cool. Dreaming of sunshine. This is like a whole scenery done into flat fold color change kind of paradigm. Very neat. We got Reza, octopus with a smiley face. This is really cute. That's pretty awesome. These are shaping contests. Sky with a cartoon shark. I like the cartoon eye. Very nice. More shaping contests. Death battle. Okay, here we got Paper Forger going crazy in the prelim round. The new hand. Crazy scales. Looking mermaid. Very nice. Very 3D looking. Got like elven ears. That's pretty interesting. What do y'all think so far? Let me read some of the chat. Bug Boy, hello. Sean, are all Hiromi papers pre-treated? No. So when you buy them from Hiromi, you have to treat it yourself. But it sounds like if you buy them from Paper Tree, they're already treated and cut. So yeah, I'll have those listed because that's going to be a lot easier for people to approach. And then you can just fold it. Paper Tree also has cabbage paper in-store only. It'll go well with the new Origami House books. Oh yeah, especially Insects Premium. Steve, hello, second fold. How are you doing? Learned a lot in Death Battle last year. Main thing was not to enter. It gets a little crazy. It's actually sometimes it sounds like you have a lot of time to design and fold. But I think we give like 2 weeks between rounds, maybe a little bit less. It's really not a lot of time, especially when it's a subject that you might not be fully comfortable with. I didn't know what was going on with the plot references. I didn't. Okay, there's Jason, the original plop. Design your own origami models. How does that work? So for this competition, this is not my OPB competition, by the way. This is we're just reviewing the origami death battle. These are 1v1 battles. And the way it works is there's this prelim round. You can design whatever you want. And then when you get in, then it's a bracket style. And each person has their own theme with their battle partner. So, right, it's all bracketed. So like some people will be doing insects. Other people might be doing like plants or subterranean life, or, you know, have some type of topic like that. And they have to design their own models within the time frame, and then people vote. So it's pretty cool. If you mean how you design your own models in general, yeah, Jason has a good advice. Check out Plant Psychologist channel for that. Implied motion. New to origami, can I still design a bottle? You can try. I just recommend folding as much as you can first to get the essence and build up some skills with, you know, folding. But you can certainly try designing on your own just by folding at free will and see if you come up with something. Need a guy like basic human figure right now. Well, I have a basic human figure tutorial already, so you can try that. Frost continues to amaze me. True. Wild Tyrant can go gnarly looking. True. Put the link together and now your simple human work on your shaping. Yeah. Okay. Just wondering if you knew any nice models I could fold with gray 70 centimeter Satogami. Ooh. You could fold a Shuki Kato model. Satogami works well. If you're able to fold that level of complexity, those tilted grid models work well with Satogami because it'll stay very big, and Satogami is a little bit thick, right? So it'll maintain itself. And even though it's a little bit thicker, the tilted grid models are complex, but they're very efficient. So it works well. One of my favorite origami type origami is faces and masks. Yeah. I was working on some with my students earlier. They're very cool. Which model has the most difficult shaping? Dragonplate Armor Assassin or Square Twist Samurai? That's a good question. Maybe the Square Twist Samurai, because it's harder to get it to look good. The Assassin is, in general, a bit easier of a folded base, and everything is symmetrical. So shaping it is not too bad. Both of them have faces that are a little difficult to do. So they're not really, it's hard to say which one's more difficult or not. It's hard to measure it like that. Yeah, Jason's got good advice. Thanks, Jason, for helping out the chat. Back in time for first round. True. I'm in second place of the top fans. Let's go, Keon. I think you're going in between Jason right now. Bug Boy, I can't design for life me. That's okay. You know, designing isn't for everyone. It's pretty fun, but it's very different than folding origami. So I always recommend, like, if people find the idea of design fun, try it. And if they find that fun, then obviously keep doing it. If they don't find it fun, then just do what you have fun with. If it's just like regular folding, totally okay. There's a lot of cool models out there nowadays that, you know, it's you won't get bored. All right, let's keep going. Death battle, we have Anise, a returning, you know, member who made it very, very far in the previous one. Did Anise win? Actually, Anise won in 2024. So you can see we have a little note right here. This little trophy shows that Anise won last year. Pretty awesome. His submission is a hippocampus, which is absolutely insanely done. This is one of the craziest models to submit for a prelim round. Yeah, really well done. Like, look at even the attention to detail on the hooves. Crazy. Got a krill, Mosasaurus. This is very simplified. It's kind of cute. I like it. We got Bodo with color change crab. Very nice. This is one of my favorite submissions, and I got to see this at the Origami convention. This is a ship in the bottle with just color change, and to achieve this, it's just half a bottle. So like, it's visually all you need, but the approach is so smart. And Ronick or Ironic is just like a genius at creating things like this. I believe there's an origami ship in the bottle design where it's an origami bottle and then an origami ship, and it's like separate, and you just put the ship in the bottle. But this is a ship in a bottle with one square, right? So that's super, super impressive. The ship is also amazing. So that is one of my favorite submissions. Also, for prelim round is pretty insane as well. That's super cool. Here we've got another type of octopus design. Very cool. Another submission. Let's disable the streamer mode. Okay. This is from Paul. Chillin'. Nice. David. David is another returning competitor, always having unique shaping and some interesting, design subjects. Very, very cool. Hermit crab with a sea anemone, right? That's pretty specific. Here we have Smithsonian, which is Malcolm, who is known for this spring joint. So they're action models. This is a flying fish, right? So we have the spring joints used to simulate waves. And then you can stretch the page and it acts like the flying fish is jumping through the air. That's pretty neat. We're going to see some insane stuff from him later. This is, again, just a prelim round. We also got another cool color change fish. Sea urchin. Wow, this is crazy. Flaxen plop. It's a lot of points for a sea urchin. Very nice. We got Dex. We've seen Dex a lot. Water strider. Very nice. Elephant seal. I think our prelim topic was like marine or ocean. So that's why there's a lot of like ocean type themed or water themed models. Cute starfish. Very nice. I like that there's some that are just like a cute plus something else. That's always fun. This is Steve, who has a really good wet folding tutorial. Did a wet fold of the Great Wave. This is beautiful. Here we got Sydney Mifa from Breath of the Wild. I haven't played Breath of the Wild, so I don't know that character. I'm guessing they're water related. We got Surfer from Complex Origami Model. Very nice. We got Neil with a boat on water. This is Hymir's boat. I don't know who Hymir is. Neil, if you're still here, you can give us a little explanation. But this is a cool use of pleats and like a wave to simulate water while having like a rendered form on top. That's super cool. I like that we're starting to get like a lot of models plus the background or the surface it's on as part of the model. It's really neat. So yeah, you can see we have like a lot of these models. Here we have squirrelfish with a photo for reference for the eye. That's really cool. I like the photo. Baked lobster tail. That's kind of genius. I like that design. And here we have Iron Wolf. Very, very cool. I think this was Iron Wolf's first design, and this is the kanji for ocean. So this is umi, I believe, which means sea. I don't know if that's the same, actually. I could be very wrong, but using a lot of pleats, they create a kanji. That's super cool. All right. And from there, that's all the submissions. Next, we have Losers Bracket, which we're not going to take a look at for now. And we can jump over to Death Battle, where we can start seeing the battles. And I wonder if we just go to voting and we can look at pictures from there for some of these battles. I want to see if we can see the bracket from here. Okay, so we've taken a look at some of these already in a stream. I tried to go through them all, but we're going to go just through it quickly again. Do we have, okay, we have the votes. So maybe we don't have the bracket yet, but I think, try to find where we have the bracket posted. Is it here? Here's the bracket. Okay. Maybe I should save this separately. Okay. Well, for now, let's just take a look at these. Did I go too far? 2024, 2025, round one. Okay, I think that's the first. Are these the first rounds or the second rounds? That's crazy. Okay, I think this is the first round. Oh wait, we're gonna need to be. Okay, here we go. Here's the first round. read some chat, see what you guys are saying. I kind of used be someone who can craft paper. Started origami because craft doesn't have much scope for detailing. Oh, I see. Yeah, origami you can go pretty crazy. I heard from a friend who recently got back into it, Ani. He's the folder that made the gnome that I had in that video recently. He phrased it like, I folded origami to past and took a big break, and I came back and the power scaling had increased dramatically with origami, so I had to get back into it. So I like that idea that the power scaling of origami has gone up a ton. Love David's photography. David's really good at taking photos of his models. That's true. The background paper has imprint of the fossil. Looks sick. Boys, can you do flips? Yes, I can do flips. You want to see a flip I did? Let's see. Let me find one on my phone. Do I have a recent one? I've taken a small break the past week, so I don't think I have any super recent content. I don't think I posted this. This is called a double butterfly twist. Or has anyone seen the Karate Kid movie? Maybe I'll show myself doing a dragon kick. Dragon kick. I'm friends with the guy who did this. He was a stunt double for the kid in the Karate Kid. And he actually helped me learn this move a couple of years ago. Where's all my videos? Film was clean. Flip, yeah, dragon kick's pretty cool. Okay, I was doing a whole bunch of them. Practice for a thing. That this clip? Nope. Is it this one? Nope. Not that. Oh, here we go. Okay, I didn't do like the extra little crescent like back kick at the end that's in the movie, but I don't know if that might be too fast for the camera. That one's okay. I've done better ones, but let's see. Do I have a clip with the stunt double? I don't know. Here's me and some other people doing this move called a snafu swipe. It's pretty difficult. And then let's see, is this one like a double twist? It's a backflip with a double twist. I don't know if I have any other good clips right now, but flips. I might have some more next week. Okay. Let's go back to on topic. Want to compete, but I don't have Discord. No, so this is like the prelim round was like way long ago. It was like in June. So you had to sign up back then, unfortunately. But you can wait for next year. And for this one, you need Discord because in Discord. Jason overtook me. Oh, snap. I think Nara's number one. Or I'm creating Lego. Okay, never mind. I like creating Lego is number one. Look at that. Is Uma the same character? Umi the same character in Chinese? I don't know. I do know there's some shared kanji in Chinese. I do not know if it's matching. I know horse is the same, Uma, right? So I don't know if ocean or sea is the same. Am I going to Origami this year? I am not. I am going to Peacock in that time frame, and I can only do one. So it's a little too close to each other. So I'm just going to Peacock this year in Sacramento. Flip was clean. Thank you. Thank you. What is one of the hardest modular origami? Probably this. This is by the guy who runs the IO competition, Andrei Ermakov. It's I forget what the name of the shape is, but it's natural color change all the way around. So this is not a pattern, these are folds. And it's really hard to get it clean. Really, really hard. Boys, I'm still mad at your friend for dying in Cobra Kai. Yeah, I'm also friends with him. Did I don't know if I got a selfie with him. It's like I wouldn't take a selfie with him because he's my homie, you know what I'm saying? I forgot I mentioned that before. I think I took a selfie with the guys from Everything Everywhere All at Once, but me and Brandon we're just chilling. I think I do have a video clip of him in the background. Excited for me trying this trick, which I definitely didn't land, but it was cool. Kind of. Let me see if he's in the background. Oh, so here he is. I filmed him because he was doing a cool pass. That's him right there. And then I think after that I went for a move and completely ate it. I don't know if this is the one that he was watching. Or he might have been to the side, not in the background somewhere. I did not land that one. Yeah, cool dude. Very nice. Okay. This is very complex modular origami. Can you give advice to improve intricate shaping skills? Ooh, that would probably take me all stream, low key. So if you're interested in that, I would wait for the Wilder shaping tutorial to come out, or just watch one of my shaping tutorials. I kind of give insight, especially in the assassin tutorials, shaping tutorials on like how to approach complex shaping, but it differs depending what model you're folding, right? So, yeah, it's like there's not one answer basically. But if there is one answer, it would be study from life, because the better your eye is at seeing details and seeing things and understanding what makes something good, what makes something bad, the better your shaping is going to get. And that's kind of why we do these origami reviews, or why I even started it, is starting to pinpoint, what makes something good, what makes something bad, because being able to do that will help you a lot in origami. It's kind of a requirement, right? If you don't know what's good, how are you going to fold something that looks good, right? And that is often subjective, but you can kind of get closer and closer to like what things should look like depending on what you're going for, and go from there. Kusudama, yes, that is the name of it. Russian lilac. Thank you, Jason. Top result is your video. I talk about it a lot there, so That's so funny. There's no tutorial. I think the diagrams are somewhere on Origami Shop. It's going to be something called like IO 2021 collection. And I think there's 2 of them, but I don't know which one it's in. Yeah, diagrams in Origami Shop. Okay. All right, so let's jump back into reviewing some of these battles. I briefly went over this. We're just going to go over this quick. This is battle number 1. Flaxen Poet versus Sky Theme Superhero. Undyne won with 113 votes. Man of Steel and Crypto with 81. And I think my consensus was the picture and the folding is just a little bit too unclean in the Superman. So people, and my face is in the way. People couldn't really see it as well, therefore giving this Undyne the winning votes. I think arguably the Superman is a little bit better of a fold. Both designs have their own problems. Let me shove myself into the corner here. I think both have different problems, but in this case, because it was a little bit more clear, that sometimes sways the vote. But composition wise, this is like a 3-in-1. It looks really cool. You just can't see all the details because it's a little bit messy. Okay, next one here we have Menno versus Origami, and we have the theme Butterfly. The Raja Brooks Birdwing Butterfly won 132 votes to 91 from the Shadow Butterfly. Now, okay, this is really neat. I really like the Shadow Butterfly. I think maybe if the photo was better, I know we're kind of talking like, oh, is this a photo competition or an origami competition? But origami competitions are also about how you present your work. So you need to fold something good and present it good. The shadow one's just a little hard because the lighting had to form the shadow. I think this is much more creative as an approach, but that doesn't always mean a better or more, complete model. I think this could have won against most of the other competitors, except for the fact that Origami is just insane at folding, and this. Let me turn the chat box off too. This butterfly is actually so good. The color change and everything. So good. Well done for both. I don't think there's not really anything wrong. If anything, it's just maybe this is a tough competition, but that shadow looks great. So Origami moves on in that one. Next up, we have Ironic versus Casey. This was quite a heated battle with the theme of mask. Now the votes don't represent it. So hanging up the mask versus mask of Soj King. I don't know quite what mask is. Both Casey and Ronic's prelim rounds were pretty strong, but I will say, Casey went with this mask, which I don't actually recognize too well. So it's hard to tell exactly what it is. Ronic's, we can very easily tell exactly what it is, and the execution is done super well. The shadows really highlight all these folds. That's a clear win for Ronic. Very well done. Even just the ribbons, right? It's just so good. Next up, we have Paper Forger versus Iron Wolf. So Paper Forger, before we get into that, I actually have a Paper Forger model. Paper Forger is also a previous Origami Death Battle champion, so he's won in the past, and he's just very good at designing quickly. He's also been in some of my 5-hour design challenges, so if you want to watch him design and fold, you can watch it there. It's very entertaining because he's one of the most chaotic origami designers I know, and his specialty is making anime girls of different types. So this one is Maple from the anime called I Was Afraid to Get Hurt, so I maxed out the fence. I think that's what it's called, but it's basically warrior warrior girl with a giant shield, right? So this is normally what Forger makes, and in the past, no matter what the theme was, he kind of found a creative way to fold an anime girl. However, in this competition, he surprised everybody and made a beautiful cappuccino or latte. This is the theme breakfast, so like a breakfast coffee. We're gonna say it's a cappuccino because it has the latte art, natural color change, just very clean, very obvious what it is, easy to see. Even the handle, right, just uses a color change. You didn't have to do any thick, handle folds where you can clearly see a lot of the reverse folds. This is just clean. It's just a color change that implies there's a hole there. Like, absolutely genius design. Totally out of left field. Would not have expected that. It's not an anime girl, right? So he's got a really strong submission. Iron Wolf also has a very strong submission. This is arguably even better than his prelim fold. It's a lot more clear. Same kind of design paradigm, and this time the kanji is for I don't know what that is. Maybe it's for breakfast. But this latte, 192 votes to 37, took the cake because this latte is just genuinely such a good design and it's genius. So, unfortunately, Iron Wolf had to go against Forger in this round because I feel like this is such a strong submission as well. So, the crazy battle, right? Crazy submissions. Next up, we have Scaff versus Anise with the theme of lobster. And this is really cool because we have two lobsters that aren't normal lobsters. We've got this lobster crawling out of a can. It's very cute. And then we have Anise going crazy with fear. So it's this in the shell, this really crazy looking mask. Just like flecks of marbled paint all along to kind of get a dark tone. This lobster is just rendered really well, kind of evident that it won 184 to 54. I think Scaff's can lobster is very cute, but in a competitive scene, people are going to gravitate towards this clean and complex looking model that's just overall visually shocking. Visual shock is another good quality to have when you're in a competition because people see a lot of origami, so something new and different. That always works pretty well. Good evening, people. What's up, Mark? Thanks for tuning in. Mark is awesome. Co-designer of the Square Twist Samurai. Did we need a link sent? Not sure. Okay. Am I going to come to Origami this year? I think I answered that already. I am not. Oh, what's up, Sydney? How much did I miss? I am slowly going through round one. You just missed me going through prelims. Jason, you're pop. Look at that. Hey, let's go. Got some friends in chat. We got Sydney and Plop. Let's go. Can't wait for Forger to release the diagrams for Latte. True. I think he's working on those. What happened to Kermac? Morning. Asa. Oh, okay. Oh, it's morning. Okay, that's why breakfast is Asa Gohan. Is that right? Which Gohan is rice? I'm not sure if my Japanese is very, very limited. Kermac was on a trip and didn't have good paper. Rip. We'll come back again, Keon. Okay, so let's keep going. This next battle, this is Daydream, which is Reza versus Emily with the theme of tree. You can see Emily took this battle against Reza. This is a really cool one. We have like a complex approach versus a less complex approach. This is still relatively complex of a figure, but Reza really went for like, I'm going to make a tree that has all the branches. And in this scenario, going more complex did not work because Emily's, this is a coconut sprout, I believe. Coconut shoot is, again, it's like we haven't really seen this done very much. So it's kind of visually shocking. It's also very clear to see, very clean. Reza's tree is a little harder to see. This photo in general is just not very good. Like it's mostly sky and then a little bit of origami, right? Versus Emily took a really good photo of her piece and it's cool and geometric. Reza does have a lot of branches, but it is overall a bit messy. So it's titled Last Leaves, I think implying that all the leaves blew away, right? Maybe there's like a couple left with this natural color change. But again, it's a little hard to see. So it loses this battle against a coconut shoot. But both are pretty cool approaches. And you can kind of see like the strategy people have to think about when designing, which also makes this competition a little bit hard. Speaking of Sydney, we have the battle between MJJ Bicycle versus Sydney with the theme of Lobopodia. And you can Google this, but I don't exactly know what this is. This is some sort of creature. And we have two different Lobopodia. I'm not even going to try to pronounce these. You can Google what these are yourself, but you can see Sydney took this by a lot of votes, 216 versus 22. Both are very complex. MJJ Bicycle has some crazy designs. So this is all structured, very clean looking Lobopodia. I don't really know what the real one looks like, but Sydney made one that's equally, if not a little bit more crazy by having all these spines on the legs. I don't really know what these are, but it's like really complex and then even more complex. So it's like the same type of strategy going at each other, but Sydney went a little bit above and beyond with the amount of pleats and the amount of spikes. I also like that from a far view when looking at both of these, like just as a whole, the Sydney's there's a lot of round and curved, like in general, curved lines that I can see curved around these spikes. So it looks a lot more organic, whereas MJJ Bicycles, it's a little bit rigid. And maybe that's how this Lobopodia is supposed to be, but it just looks kind of rigid. You can tell there's pleats, but doesn't look, too shaped. This looks like super organic. So I think those factors led to Sydney winning that round. Here we have Steve versus Dex with the theme of tropical birds. So we've got the Indian Paradise Flycatcher versus the Parrot Skeleton. This we have kind of opposite. We have more simple origami. This is not really simple, but it's just a regular representational bird versus a hyper complex origami skeleton. I will say the bird has a lot more elegance to it. Just the regular bird compared to the skeleton. The skeleton, objectively, the photo is pretty bad. I know Dex has, that's something he wants to work on, is getting better photos. We've got this big shadow just kind of covering most of the model from the way the light set up. The display stand is in a really awkward spot in the neck. We even have like some extra background stuff that's very unnecessary, like this shadow and this desk and this cord. So this photo is like pretty bad, but the model is crazy. And it's actually well folded, like this parrot skeleton with the beak, the slot for the eye. We got all the toes. I don't know if this is actually what a parrot skeleton looks like, but we can kind of tell it's a bird skeleton. And that looks really cool. And just having the gaps in the bones, kind of like chicken wing, right? It's super, super cool. So in that scenario, the ultra complex took the victory here. Very interesting to see. We see it go different ways with the ways people approach complexity. Like Reza lost his battle going more complex, right? It's very interesting how these battles and votings can turn out. Reza is here. Wish I could have folded that trio with better paper. I was also on a trip and didn't have good paper. Reza, I think this is when you were in Japan. Were you in Japan then? So yeah, that's kind of tough when you're limited on time and don't have access to good paper. But in my opinion, the design is better than the pic makes it out to be. Yeah, I'd like to see you make that like large so that we can actually see those like color change leaves. I think that'd be pretty neat. It is perfect. Oh, cool. May have been good to zoom in a bit. I feel bad for Reza. Here, we can take a look. Let me zoom in a little bit for Reza. Yeah, this is just hard. So also life factors that can come into play. unexpectedly, if you don't have the paper to compete, that can be hard. But it's a very cool design. Yeah, color change sleeves are sick. Sydney W, cursed design subject, true. Extreme wonderfully, very true. Dex surprised you with the cleanliness. Yeah. It's hard to do something like this and get clean. Like a lot of times there's so many layers going through this because of the way the grid is that you would maybe see it, but he was able to round it out and hide all the crazy layers so that what you're left with is mostly just bone looking paper. Yeah, it was done, but all good. Emily's was very good. Yeah, that's true. Emily cooked with this coconut shoot. This is just super cool. Okay, next up we have Neil versus Ayrton. Might be pronouncing that wrong. Neil versus Ayrton with the theme of astronaut. Got two astronauts here. We have Black Hole versus Astronaut, and this one's a little close. It's not super close, but we've got 147 versus 93. So votes aren't too far apart. We got two very different approaches here. So Neil went with Black Hole, which is super cool how you depicted the black hole here with these, kind of pleats curving in to the hole, which is, it's kind of, I think what Neil was going for is kind of saying like space and geometry is getting, sucked into, the deep gravity. Like the black holes will mess with that as you get to the center. And I think that's what he was trying to convey here with these square grid stuff, that is like space itself is being stretched. And then obviously we have the astronaut figure, which is really cool. So it's like a 2-in-1 connection here. It could be cleaner, but at least from this angle, it hides some of the messiness. And when you look from afar, I think you don't really notice it too much. There's like, because this is a very complex subject and very, asymmetrical, it is harder to get clean. So there is some, execution issues, but I can see how it won because, again, this has the shock value that kind of helps it. Whereas we have an astronaut here. This is actually very cleanly done. Maybe too cleanly done where it looks flattened a little bit. There's not too much 3D shape except for in the helmet, and that might actually hurt it a bit. But I do like the geometry of how some of these, parts of the suit are done. Hand's a little too small, but cool that it has color change. Overall, really unique structure. But I can see how this just kind of has that shock factor, and both have some execution issues. But this shock factor is just really good. Also, you can tell like this is kind of like a very robotic pose. I don't know if that was the intention, but the falling of the black hole one, it works really, really well. And sometimes that extra like organic nature, which we kind of saw in Sydney's fold, really helps with when people click the vote button. Okay, next up we got 5x5 versus Gilmore or Less, theme of dinosaur. And we have Gilmore or Less with the win with Life Finds a Way versus a Chasmosaurus. Okay, so let's take a look at these. I am not familiar with what a Chasmosaurus is, but it looks very cute. Kind of gives me similar vibes to like a Triceratops a little bit. But I'm not too familiar with what this dinosaur is. I think what Gilmore or Less was going for in this one, it was like kind of like chicken or the egg type thing, but with a dinosaur. So I think that's what the title kind of alludes to. Paper choice here using the Washi Deluxe is very smart. Very, very smart, because the egg looks very egg-like. I don't know if any of y'all in chat know what reptile eggs look like, but this kind of gives that essence. And then the dinosaur itself is noticeable enough, even though the gold is kind of weird. I actually don't like the color change claws here. I think they take away and blend too much into the egg, so it looks a little bit messy. Maybe if it was executed a little bit nicely, it could be really cool. But overall, I think this is just kind of surprising and cute. And this is a interesting one where cute versus a different kind of cute. But perhaps this cute was not as recognizable. Maybe it's too niche of a dinosaur than the dinosaur coming out of an egg, and that was the resulting vote. But both are very cool designs. All right, so let's look at chat for a little bit. Keon's cool. I sent a link. It didn't go through. Let me look really quick. Maybe I should just give Jason permission to add links. Give me a second, Jason. Let me try to. Okay, you can add links now. That should help Official Vampire Box find the diagram that he wants, I think. It's not free, no. Pay for origami books. It really helps support artists. No, I will not reveal the PDF, actually. I am very against piracy, so I will not leak that diagram for you. I only leak my own diagrams. But yeah, Jason has that for you. It's pretty cheap, I think. At least it was. But hopefully that'll help you out a bit. Okay, let's get back to Discord. I'm in a country where ain't no country like us be shipping. Yeah, I tried shipping origami books to India before, and the problem is that whenever it's a product that was purchased, so like I bought the books and I paid for the shipping, it'll charge the receiver the customs fee, which when that guy in India received the books, very talented folder. I'm not going to dox him, but very talented folder, well deserving of those books and paper I bought him. I also had to pay the customs fee, but initially he was charged it, and the customs fee was like insane. So yeah, it's very hard to ship purchased products to India. Like if you just bring them over, it's fine. So at this origami convention in one of my latest shorts, you can see a guy, Rishab. He won the Works by Satoshi 1 book and brought that back to India with him. And no one had to pay customs fee, which is great. But yeah, ebooks are definitely a lot easier. That's why, at least right now, I have some available of my diagrams, just so internationally it'll be a little bit more accessible. But yeah, hopefully that Origami Shop ebook helps you out for wanting to fold it. How can I join the Discord? Jason, nowadays you can post links. I don't know if you're able to add a Discord invite link, but if you're over the age of 13, then you can join. If you're not, then you gotta wait. Bodo time. Yes, Bodo time. Let's look at Bodo. This is Bodo versus Butterfingers with the theme of roses. And what's hilarious is that both designers made humanoids instead of just roses, which is, I mean, it makes sense. Us humans, we do like roses. So let's make humans with roses. Butterfingers went with a bride, very ornate dress and complex dress using like these scale patterns with color change rose just in the hand. Beautiful, beautiful. Very smart to only add the color change paint in the section that the rose is in, so that the rest of the paper isn't like slightly pink. That's just what happens when you have thin white paper over a red on the other side. But very clean looking, very cool. The face, not so clean. I think Butterfingers went to foreface. We kind of have the eye ridge, but it doesn't translate too well. Hair is kind of unique though. But the dress overall is very beautiful, using the pleats to form out the dress. Looks like it stands on its own. Bodo's much more organically shaped. This is a rose person, or rejected rose man versus rose for the lady. This is, what a cool battle, right? So Rejected Rose Man, it's literally a rose man. His body is made up of the stem and the vines, that color. And this one, you can see Bodo did do full color change on everything. You can see the red between the layers in the fingers, but it was, and a little bit bleeding through on the green, but the red coming through the green works a little bit better because it gives more of a brownish tone, which works for this model. Bodo's also just really good at making colored papers. So also flexing his talent there. We got the rose in hand, natural color change. This is, I don't think this is part of the model. This is just like an added cigar. I think Bodo just put this in the hand and then added smoke. I don't think this is actually folded, but it's just kind of cool, right? So it's a little extra. It's not origami. Some people might take away points for that. Even if it is origami, I don't think it's the natural color change. This is like an edited smoke with the light. Obviously, I don't think he actually set on fire. Maybe he did. I don't know. But Bodo, just in general, very good execution, unique pose, unique subject, more organic. Yeah, a little bit more cleanly. So this is like the uncanny valley type discussion. Summed up simply, the more realistic you're trying to make a human, you're going to fall into this uncanny valley where if it's trying to look too much like a person but doesn't, like any small change will make it look less of a person. Whereas if you're on the other side of the valley where you're doing something stylized like a cartoon or a monster character that, isn't really like trying to look like a real human at all, it's like fantasy and made up, you can get away with a lot more and it'll look more human just because it's representing those features, not trying to replicate them. So I think that's where the strength of Bodo's subject works. Like, obviously this is not a real knee joint, but Bodo didn't need to do a real knee joint because he wasn't trying to make a real human. Whereas in Butterfingers, where the added detail for the face was trying to get more closely for a realistic human-ish, then all the other things like this elbow will kind of sell that it's not like a human, or the fact that the neck starts, there's not too much of a neck here. So like those types of things will start to draw back from the overall visual look. And yeah, Bodo won 216-30. Both are very cool designs. I talked about those a lot. But yeah, I think they're very cool. All right. We have 12. Okay. Yeah, just wait a year to join. Don't join. If you join early and I find out, you run the risk of being banned. And then you can't join ever, right? So you don't want that. So yeah, just wait till you're 13, then you can join. This is a Discord terms of service, so just wait a year. No harm. What is it? An origami group? Yes, and we run competitions. This is the largest group of online origami folders and designers, mostly young origami designers and folders, and the level of talent is extremely high. And there's a lot of interaction between people. I think we have Reza and Ani actually hanging out right now, probably working on some sort of model. So yeah, people hang out. Sometimes you can chat with other origami folders, but it's age 13 plus. So yeah, you just got to respect that. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's go to the next one. This is Malcolm versus the folder with theme car. So Malcolm had that spring joint action model, and you can see in this, it's kind of low res, but it's because it's like a GIF. This action in this model is that the wheels turn, right? Now, what's really interesting about this approach is it's obvious that the wheels aren't really turning like a real car wheel turns, but the shock value of an origami car with spinning wheels, I think, was just so crazy. I have never seen anything like that. I don't think anyone's seen anything like that. And the rest of the car is folded really nicely with these really unique geometric tires. So, this is hard because, um, got to respect the other designer for making something relatively cool, which is, uh, I don't exactly know what this is from, but it's some sort of maybe cartoon vehicle, right? Kind of cool 2-in-1 vehicle, very stylized face, but it's going against something that's like literally a world first. So the world first is going to take that 172 to 59. This one still got quite a good amount of votes, but yeah, the car, this is just crazy. So Malcolm cooked very hard with that one. Right, we have Plops Battle versus Juan Flores C. This is theme Greek gods, and we have two Hades. So the theme was Greek gods, but it's so ironic that both designers chose the same model or the same Greek god, which is Hades. So this is Hades versus Hades. Let's see the different approaches. Let's check out Plops. Plops is actually very, very cool. I like the face here with the beard. This eye structure actually works really well from this angle. It's just a little hard to see because everything is so dark in this photo. But again, kind of the topic of the uncanny valley, right? Instead of trying to make like an eyeball, just having the reflection of the eye and the socket really helps form the face. And when I zoom in, I can pretty easily see the face going on here. Very, very cool. We got color change going on. I am not too sure what the green is trying to represent. Maybe this is like green fire. This is maybe kind of some depiction of Hades' realm. Not super sure. Overall, got the cloak. So very interesting structure here. We have Juan's interpretation of Hades with this kind of staff, and just a cloak, no legs. We got arms and a different style of face. So this face is more similar to something like an Eric Schwarzel style, where it's more stylized instead of going for realism by making it kind of like cartoonish, right? So we have the eye outwards with these little creases. Same thing with the mouth, but it's all still within the same style, using the pleats as the hair. So it's very evident that it's trying to look like origami, and it still renders the face really nicely. Also, the staff is like super clean, but mostly it's a use of all the layers to form the representation. I think, unfortunately, for Plop, the layers here just kind of look a little bit messy. Whereas over here, the layers look more like the cloak. Could also be with the photo. It's just kind of presented a little bit more nicely, a little easier to tell what's going on. And I think that's the reason it took victory. But good job, both of you. Very cool designs for the same Greek god. Just kind of funny. He says 100% winning rate on this battle. That's so funny. I think the reason my account doesn't allow me... Yeah, YouTube also has a age 13 terms of service. So if you have an account with an age under 13, you're stuck on YouTube Kids, which is probably a good thing. Wait for your... Don't waste your time on YouTube. But if you want to watch origami tutorials, then yeah, with your aunt's permission, you can do that. Okay. Hades tertiary shaping is really good. Yes. Especially with the use of those layers for the hair. I think in this one, the real strong point is the face and the hair. It is really well executed. Okay, next up we have, man, there's, how much do we have left? Okay, for round one, we have 3 more. Okay, 3 more for round one. We might have to end it there. We might have to do round 2 a different stream. Okay, well, let's try to go through this a little fast. This is David versus Robert, Theme Centipede. And here, Robert won. This is a Centipede Chimera versus Centipinoid. Centipedinoid. So like a centipede robot versus a centipede chimera. I don't know what a centipede chimera is. Maybe this is from a show or something. Not super sure, but pretty cool looking. It's like, or this is just something that David cooked. We're blending the theme of like a chimera, which is like half snake, half lion, half dragon, half goat, not half, like part goat. Basically, a smash of animals together. But in this case, did a smash of animals in the centipede. So we got wings, the legs, we have bug leg, like dragon leg, goat leg, whole mix, basically, whole mix versus this centipenoid, which is like a bipedal robotic centipede. Just really cool, actually. These are two very out of the, ballpark designs in terms of like, they could have just made regular centipedes, but chose to get kind of creative. And the votes are kind of close too. This is 100 versus 146. It's a little hard to tell. I think I think both models, which it works because they're competing for each other. It's still a little hard to tell what's going on in both of them. This one I can clearly see the centipede face. I wish I had another angle for the voting, but it's kind of unique that it's like a bipedal insect, and it looks very much like that. So I can at least get bipedal insect. David's, I get centipede, but from afar, it kind of just looks like centipede with not very clean legs. You just really have to like zoom in to get the full essence of the details. And having to do that might have hurt it for voting a little bit. I also, with these pleats, I wish it was just like a little bit more curved. I can tell there was an attempt to like make it curved, but maybe it didn't stay for the shaping, especially trying to get like this pose. This is very curved, but like the round size for the axis is just very rectangular and boxy. So hard to say which one's better here, but in this scenario, the centipenoid won. What were those models on round two? Okay, we'll go through it. We'll go through it because I had that in the thumbnail. It's pretty insane. Yeah, Mark, every round has been kind of crazy. Is it possible to make Raijin with a similar style to LQD? I don't know because I haven't folded that model and I haven't really done much of LQD's models either. So I'm not sure, unfortunately. I cannot answer that. Okay, we have Faraz versus Kermac, theme musician. We got a singer versus self-playing violin beetle. Okay, that's actually really funny. So this is comedy from Kermac here. There's a violin beetle, which I think is named because it kind of looks like a violin. And then Kermac designed it so it also has the bow. So it's like essentially playing itself as if it were a violin. And then Faraz is also going back to this same design paradigm of color change, flat fold model. And in this case, made a singer. This is a great lesson on how you can render a form with different approaches or mediums. So this is because it's 2D color change, right? But it's also like technically a humanoid model where Faraz like used line to render the model, and then also like shade or contrast to create like the shape of the hair. So this is like a little bit of shadow, not really shadow theory, but shape theory, at least in getting the dress and the hair, and then just some simple line art to get the rest of it, which is really, really cool. That's like super unique. This would be hard to learn to do. You kind of have to have that intuition or train to be able to render something like that. But Faraz has done so many of these designs that it worked out really well. Super, super cool. Faraz won, the singer. Next we have, I think, is this, yeah, Paul versus Carrot, themed turtle. This is super, super close, 119 to 140. We have the world turtle versus the skull shell tortoise. So this is a really interesting battle to look at. We have the world turtle, which is a turtle, where on the shell are 4 elephants with like another thing, and then there's something else on top of this too. I can't exactly remember what it is, but Absolutely insane model. I think this photo, it's trying to show everything, but doesn't quite do it justice. Uh, really insane to put this composition together. Versus this skull turtle, which is like the epitome of balance between complex and clean. We got this box pleat skull with structured teeth, and that's the shell of this turtle, which still has color change for the claws, and this is very tasteful color change. It's very clear on the claws here, and it's so good. The geometry to this skull works really well, especially the mouth being the opening where the head is. This is probably one of the best designed things in round one. It's actually like kind of insane. Even though Paul's is insane for a different reason, it's like pure complexity smashed together with like decent execution. Um, this is like extremely high level of execution and a very creative and insane design. Um, I think honestly, one of the things that's holding Paul's back the most is this craft paper is just I don't like these lines. It's visually very distracting. And even though you can't tell until you zoom in, the eye catching this is just like, it kind of rejects a lot of it because there's like subtly some extra things going on that shouldn't be there. So now my eye's distracted by all these extra gaps in the folds and the swivel fold, which I can see, this opening in the belly, which is kind of unnatural. It shows me that the neck is not in the right position. It should be in this hole, not like on top here. And then between the elephants, it gets really messy, right? So part of that is like the way it's shown in the papers designed, whereas like this beautiful black and white paper is just like, you just see turtle, right? Even though there are some shaping folds that are visible, like the crimp, it's like kind of well hidden and isn't distracting to the model like it's distracting in Paul's. So a little lesson in shaping there, competitive. But Skull Shell Tortoise won just by a little bit, which is really cool. Streams go to like 4 a.m. in the US. For us, it's like 3 p.m. Yeah, my streams are pretty India time zone friendly. It used to be even less US friendly when I streamed at 4 a.m. I don't have endurance. Yeah, people in the US, it's totally fine. I understand when people want to go to sleep. Do you think I can add a layer of white tissue paper on gray elephant hide so I can fold Shuki's African elephant to get the color change? I think so. I That's a pretty complex model. I as long as the paper is large enough, I'd say. I don't think you actually have to use that large of a paper for that model, but I've never folded it before, so it might work. I don't think you can add it to elephant hide exactly like you would for double tissue. You might want to use a drier glue. You don't, because elephant hide, once you get it wet, it will warp, and that can really affect the overall look. Boys do not sleep. I don't. I sleep. I used to not sleep sometimes, but I sleep now. I kind of have to now that I'm getting older. But I used to, like, when I was streaming at 4 a.m. There would be days where like I would just completely skip sleeping. It was pretty much like once a week, actually, that I would skip sleeping. Um, oh, it's a Pokemon. Is that what the turtle is? Skull Shell Tortoise. That's pretty cool. Okay. Give me 1 second, y'all. I'm gonna blow my nose real quick. Sit tight and look at this paper forger design. I'll be right back. Okay. We're back. Let's take a look at this. So now we're in round 2. So there's not as many battles. So I think we can go through these quite quickly as well. But this one is probably the showcase battle of this whole event so far. This is Oricant versus Anise. We saw both of them, absolutely go crazy in their first rounds. Oricant with that beautiful butterfly, Anise with the lobster, with the fear face in the shell. And here we have a battle theme steampunk, which is really, really cool. We don't see too much steampunk origami. So that's a really neat theme. We've got Howl's Moving Castle versus the Flying Neighborhood. Wow. Look at that, right? It's just, we talk about the shock factor. Both have shock factor. It's neat because their compositions are similar. Howl's Moving Castle is kind of like a conglomeration of like buildings. Type, and then it has legs, obviously. And then what Anise put together is kind of like a bird, but it's flying with a city, right? So again, kind of like a conglomeration of buildings. Now this city, we can't see it from this side, but on the other side, there's like a lot of other smaller details. Like there's like a boat and a dock and a sidewalk, and then these roofs have like roof tiles, right? Oricant is, if you guys have watched a movie from Howl's Moving Castle, you recognize it. But even if you haven't, I think you'll just genuinely see the overall shape is pretty good of like a walking castle, right? The ramparts and everything like that. Now, this battle was like, the votes are kind of close, 122 to 87. From afar, it's hard to say which design is better, because I think if you look into the details or look into the mistakes of each, you'll come up with different conclusions every time you do it, right? Like we even have the jaw ish down here, right? It's, I don't know, each one is really good. There are some mistakes. I know Anise, he was a little bit delayed in his fold, so there's like a time crunch, had to rush a little bit. So like the roofs aren't really clean, they're very like warped. You kind of see that warping a lot happen, and this isn't quite normal in Anise's designs when he has time to fold, but when it's rushed, it's hard to do the shaping well. So like this house is bulging out weirdly. They're kind of slanted, strange. Oricant has some as well, but this paper actually hides the warping quite well, just with the solid red color. That might be a strategy in color. But the rendered form in general looks cleaner, I'd say, than this, because the roof tiles are really, they're really warped. So that could have swayed the vote. Hard to say which one's actually better, but in this case, Howl's Moving Castle won. But still, this is like battle of the battle. This one's kind of insane. Next up, we have Sydney versus Neil with the theme of air fantasy. Man, Sydney cooking once again. Something crazy. It is a Colgera Scrouge of Wind Temple. I do not know where that's from. Versus Garuda. I saw Neil actually working on this at the Origami convention a little bit, I think. Yeah, I did. Very cool. Neil went for kind of good detail, more of a rendered form. Whereas Sydney, I don't even know. This is just craziness. Like, I don't know what this is, but it looks cool. And I think that's a strong suit on Sydney's part with how the photo was taken, and like super high contrast. You can see all the spikes. Again, there's like curves and everything. So even though I don't understand this, it just looks very visually appealing. Unfortunately for Neil, I am very experienced in humanoids. And I'll say, Neil, you there are some execution issues. I do know Neil was also facing kind of a time crunch working on this at the convention. I think the concept is very cool. We got wings. Wings are starting to be nice. But as we get closer, some of the details actually kind of hinder the effect of the model. Like the neck just looks a little too squished. The hands, the fingers, they're a little bit too squished as well, right? So like the knuckles are starting to fall apart. Or they're like, this one's missing in the wrong spot. And just a conglomeration of that kind of detracts from the overall model. So makes sense that even though I think most people don't even understand what this is, it won the vote. But very cool. Next up, we have Faraz versus Fabula Mirabilis with the theme of biology. That's really cool. We have a hand X-ray and a fetus, which is pretty cool how this is rendered. So umbilical cord fetus, this is like in development. If you had like a colored X-ray somehow, potentially, that'd be that. Totally works for theme biology. And then here we have a skull hand, or like X-ray of a hand with all the carpals, and I don't know what the bones are called, but the bones with all the bones. I think in this scenario, Faraz again with this specific style, just like this is hard to compete against because it's so easy to understand what's going on here, and like arguably the execution, if you were to consider like how clean the folds actually are, the folds are not clean, but the form that is shown is very clean. Whereas in this model, it's a little bit hard to tell in the face what's going on. Yeah, it's just a little bit harder to tell what's going on. And yeah, I think 170 to 38, yeah, the hand X-ray is just kind of really, really nice. All right, next up, we got Paper Forger versus Dex. Okay, so now we're back to Paper Forger. His signature, we got actually like this is like Master Chief, I think, Halo Spartan, and then Anime Girl with a gun. What was the theme? Sci-fi. Okay, yeah. So this works, like space soldier plus weapon and anime girl with wings. Very Paper Forger coded. Versus this is Dex made Doomed Society. So this is kind of like a creature of Dex's own imagination that kind of has the play of Doomed Society. So we've got a couple heads floating around. It's kind of a conglomeration that's really complex. I think this also falls into the area where this time around we couldn't really tell what's going on too much in Dex's, whereas we can pretty clearly see Anime Girl and Forgers. So both are really complex. We got 2-in-1 and we got this big conglomeration of flaps. And in this scenario, Forger takes the win. This is I don't really know what that. Okay, well, I'm pretty sure it's like Master Chief and Anime Girl. That's basically what it is. Okay, next up we have Ronic versus Flaxen Poet, and we got three more. Four. Well, technically four, but yeah. Okay, we'll look at this. This one is Ronic versus Flaxen Poet with the theme of symbols. This is probably one of my favorite models submitted so far too. This is a walking red flag versus Deltarune. So I think there's some Deltarune fans probably in chat. If not, watching this later. I get a lot of comments of people wanting me to make stuff from Deltarune. Here you go. You can make this. Here's the crease pattern. I have not played Deltarune. I've heard it's a good game, but I don't know too much about it. But this walking red flag, my goodness, this is just regular Kami, I believe, maybe 10-inch. So you can see, right? It's just regular origami paper, but that high contrast paper works really well sometimes. You know, I folded that lilac Kusudama with the same red Kami and I won second place, right? So, and I'm not a Kusudama person. Walking red flag, the way this hand is done, to hold the flag, and it's the flag holding a flag, like the wordplay. This is wordplay in origami, which is really nuts. So yeah, Ronic's just kind of a genius to be able to come up with wordplay and then a model to execute it so wonderfully. So that one, 160. The Delta rune, this is also like, this is similar to what Faraz does, a little bit different, but it's like the flat color change type logo, I guess. I think, yeah, this is just, it just took the cake for the competition. Next up, we have Malcolm, the Smithsonian versus Gilmore or Less, with the theme of countries. Malcolm made US versus Japan, and I believe Gilmore or Less made Australia. Maybe Australian coin. Australia, New Zealand. Is that what this is? Not too sure, but I'm pretty sure this is Australia. Flat fold color change. This crazy thing by Malcolm is something that we have to look at further. I think it's in Hall of Fame. This is something, again, I think is absolutely ridiculous. Look, the planes they're doing a dogfight. They move like they're fighting each other. It's like, I think Japanese Zero versus the US plane. I don't know what it's called. Like, this is crazy. Also using the spring joint. So he's just pulling the paper and then both are moving at the same time. It's not like he's moving these planes on his own. He's just doing one action and the reaction is the planes attacking each other. So yeah, this is, I've never seen anything like this either. Malcolm continues to surprise. And the craziest part is the planes are actually really good as well. So we got this crazy action model with well-rendered forms. Yeah, it's just kind of a, unfortunately, Australia cannot compete against that. So 170 to 32. Malcolm takes the win with another insane action model. Okay, we got last battle here. This is LDM versus Bork theme prehistoric. We've got a Dino Rider versus Dinosaur with a sword. So LDM, this is Carrot. Also really good at doing humanoids. Color change Dinosaur Rider. This is pretty cool. We see people riding horses. We see people riding dragons. Here we have people riding dinosaur, but with natural color change. This is a really unique model. I like that the human is kind of simplified, just has like a hood and like an outfit so that it doesn't have to look too messy, right? Using the layers as the outfit itself with a simple format makes some sense. Got the dinosaur here. Nice color change pattern versus, I actually really like this dinosaur holding dinosaur with sword in the mouth. I don't know if y'all have seen this, but there is like this viral video that went around of someone making a video game with a dinosaur, basically with this dinosaur holding a sword, and it had these crazy animations. Looked really cool. I don't think it's like an actual video game. It's just something that someone was trying to develop. But that's what I am reminded by. I think this is really funny. I can understand why this LDM's won. It's cleaner. The design subject is a little bit more rendered out with the color change. Over here, the dinosaur with the sword, it's missing like the belly, right? So the form isn't really rendered out. This design subject's really cool, but it's just missing some features. But very, very neat. I like both of these a lot. I like that the dinosaur with the sword, like he's looking at you, you know. There's like a vibe to it. Okay, and the very last one is, unfortunately, Bodo. He's been traveling the world as a special guest to origami conventions, so he had to unfortunately drop out of this battle. But Juan gave a crazy submission as well. What was the theme? Jungle. This is a crocodile eating a bird of some sort. Natural color change, 2-in-1 model. Very neat. It would have been cool to see what Bodo made in response to this, right? And have an actual battle, because this is a really cool design subject. But sadly, we do not get to see that, but really good job on Juan for making a really cool model, regardless of Bodo dropping out. String turns are awesome. That's so true. Reza says that's Australian New Zealand coin is the same sheet. It's just double-sided. Oh, I see. So it's double-sided coin. So that is pretty impressive to do this flat color change, but on 2 sides. That's like the specialty of this. That's really cool. It is still hard for it against that, right? But that is very novel. I do like that. Very novel. So crazy. They're really cool. Yeah. Yeah, these ones are so sick. Bodo's the goat. Bodo is the goat. Folding his horse right now. True. By the way, Bodo's horse diagrams are still on sale for just a little bit longer, up till the end of the month. So you can find it on my website. Little plug. I have to work hard to get to that level. True. I have to keep working hard too to kind of up my level as well. Can you pull up a reference of a real hand next to Farz's? Because it's genuinely crazy how accurate it is. Yeah, let me do that. I should pull up my hand X-ray, except that would probably get demonetized on YouTube because there's when I dislocated my finger. Okay, let me get this on my phone so I can hold it up to the camera and we can see. Oh, it's mirrored, but what is ulna, radius, carpals? I could be completely wrong. I have no idea. Bones, joints, fingers. It's really accurate. That's pretty insane. All right, and that wraps up the Origami-dan death battle. So far, we already are in the next round, and I think there are some submissions, maybe. So we will be reviewing those soon. Okay, never mind. No one's submitted yet. Just kidding. But we'll probably see them soon as it gets closer to the deadline. But that is very cool, right? Let me know what you guys thought your favorite one was. It's kind of hard to pick. There's so many cool ones. Like we can take a little closer look at Anise's from the different sides, right? There's so many crazy details. Like I wish we had infinite time so you could like fully render out to more of this. Because I could tell that with more time, he could really make something even more insane than it already is. Let's see if we have photos from some other stuff. Yeah, so okay, Forgers is based off a drawing. That's what the N is from. So this is a Spartan laser cannon, I think. That's pretty good. Yeah, Sydney's. This is crazy. This is actually so crazy. More Malcolm's, Bone. Okay, this is the 2 sides of the coin. Yeah, that's actually insane. So good job, everyone, for competing so far. This is like the list that was in round 2. And we're going to see who comes out on top on round 3. This is the current battles. We've got Oricanth versus Sydney, Flores Juan versus Polymathic Fuzz, Forger versus Ironic, and Papersmith versus Carrot or LDM. So that's going to be super cool for the semifinals. Who will make it? And then after that, we'll just have one more round for the finals. And someone's going to take home a very excellent prize sponsored by Papertree. Shout out to Papertree for helping to sponsor a prize for the Origami-dan Death Battle. Very generous to have one of the craziest prize pools in origami competition of recent. I won't say of history because I think, actually, I don't know. I don't know what the max prize has ever been given for a origami competition, but I feel like we're pretty up there for what the prize pool is. The prize pool is $700. So that's pretty crazy, right? Oh, there's Malcolm. Ani says it's based on his hometown. Oh wow, there's like the emotional connection. Isn't that crazy? The personal connection in your death battle. This is like straight out of a movie. Making your hometown. What's your opinion on Pokemon Eternatus? I made that from origami scissors. I don't know that Pokemon. I actually was not very much into Pokemon when I was young. It's just not something I got into. I feel like nowadays I would have if I was a kid again. Wow, that looks like a pretty crazy looking Pokemon. Poison Dragon type. I only have one Pokemon card, and I actually received it recently. This is my one and only Pokemon card, which I just got from a friend last year when he opened a pack. Crabominable. It's a abominable crab, I'm guessing. Hard to actually see it. But it's the big old snow crab. Snowman crab. Pretty cool. I'm the biggest fan of Pokemon, but I don't like Pokemon cards. That's valid. I folded Origami Charizard before for a different friend. That was fun. That was the Tadashi Mori Charizard. Folding it to a friend, not the subject. The subject, not the card. Show the model's face. This one. This is from Paper Forger. It's kind of cool because he folded it with a muzzle or a snoot, I guess. But there's no like face details. It's just that and the hair. But it still gives some volume to the face than just leaving it flat. So that's really unique. What model am I working on? So this one was a gift from Paper Forger. So that's not mine. I am working on Wilder right now. This is for the tutorial. It's probably what I'm going to be doing after the stream for a little bit. Just trying to wrap up the tutorial. Still got a good ways to go. Got to get the legs posed. And then work on the helmet, and the neck, and the scarf, and the arms, and the sword, and everything. There's a lot to do still. But yeah, what do y'all think about this display stand though? I really like how I approach this display stand. Maybe not this side so much. I think there's another technique I can do with this side. I just didn't have time. Like the color is really cool for stone brick, even though this is just foam. But at least like this section turned out really well. So I might do this similar thing, but without the wall part. I'll just make the stone, put it on this, use that for the welder. I think this is tall enough, yeah. Kind of imagine. Jungkook Kim. Unfortunately, I don't read Korean, so let me see if I can translate this really quick. When will part 4 come out? Soon. So very soon. It's basically I just have to finish. I have to finish this, and it's like halfway done. So hopefully this weekend. I need this. Where did I? So the stands I have on my website from Amazon. So you can just check those out, and then the brick part I made it myself. So it's just styrofoam. And there's tutorials already for how to do that. You just like score it. Like basically you just take like a little knife and you like just cut bricks into it. And then you take a pencil and you widen it so that it forms cracks. And then you paint it. I guess. I think that's all I did. But the paint has multiple layers to make the like weathered look, a combination of browns and grays, and then with I like flick white paint off of a paintbrush to get the speckles. And then combined it's very simple, and then combined it works really well. Oh, and then underneath it is like black paint, so that way the cracks are dark. Someone's been improving his diorama skills. Thank you. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, I think this is like easy, and visually it works very well. So I think I'll continue that. And then next time I have to do a wall, there's like a different vertical brick technique I can do to make those actually look like a brick wall. I just again didn't have time to do that. But it's a little easier for me to make something like this than to 3D print something super accurately. So I like this. It's a little bit more hands-on. Can you make a Pokemon? I don't think I have time to make anything new right now. I have to just finish this Wilder, and then after that, I want to do the Rathalos tutorial. But before I do the Rathalos tutorial, I have some ideas for some new designs. So I want to work on those designs a little bit before I make another set of tutorials. I also need to edit the origami convention vlog because I want to show you all that before it's too far away. It's already been a month, almost exactly, since the origami convention, so I want to get that out pretty soon. Share all those stories. It's just pretty fun. It's one of the coolest origami conventions so far. And yeah, so that's the plan. So unfortunately, I'm like way too busy to start anything new. And I already have some potential projects and collaborations ahead of me that I might need to work on as well. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. Gotta try this out when I finish Kermax Burrow. Yeah, it's so fun actually to make that display stand. So I actually bought some paints, and these are actually official, like, if anyone knows Warhammer, these are from that company, Citadel Paints, which is by Game something. It's from UK, Canada. There's a store that imports it. So this is the Nuln Oil shade. So this will help with doing the dark wash that I've been doing on my models. Also got this like earthen badland color, which can help with that surface texture. And it's like the consistencies of these can change. This is like a earthy green as a shade. Some mud for weathering. And this is like a metallic layer, iron breaker. I see this used a lot in the metallic tutorials. So I'm excited to use these. They're like higher quality paints. Normally I just have like whatever cheap acrylic paint I can get my hands on, but now that I'm getting a little bit more into it, I want to try those, see if it works. Can you read Vietnamese? No, I cannot, unfortunately. I can only read English, and I'm trying to learn to read Japanese, at least hiragana, katakana. But it's hard. Is Legion Mulberry available in India? No, it's not, unfortunately. But I have paper on the skill issue quiz of where I have found paper in India, and there's double tissue there. And again, all you need to fold my designs is double tissue. And unless you're like very, very, very good at origami, like close to the experience level I have, you probably don't need to use Legion Mulberry paper. You can get away with double tissue. So there are 2 stores by Indian origami folders. There's Nara and Creed's paper store. So those will have complex origami papers and double tissue that are very nice. And by purchasing them, you are actually supporting another origami folder in India, not some random company, right? So that's the benefit of purchasing from their stores. I vouch for both of them. They both fold well and are really trying to enable complex origami in India, which is very cool because I'm sure all you India bros know how hard it can be to find paper in India. So the fact that they're at least trying to make it a little easier, super cool, right? I have trouble making double tissue. It takes practice to make your own, definitely. When do you estimate the Rathlos tutorial will come out? Like 2 months, 3 months, maybe. Hard to say. I don't know. My next few months. Hopefully by the end of October. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I bought Creed's paper. They're amazing. The paper had 0 wrinkles. There you go. Got another vouch from Keon. Boom. Search action figures. Yeah. You haven't conquered the 3D printing curve yet. When you do, we'll watch you print all kinds of. Yeah, my 3D printing is just limited to like the simple geometry stuff, and then like customized stands where like this one's actually really good. It like clicks into the heel of the model. But like I'm basically just using the Blender tools to draw these. It's like nothing complex at all. Right, but it works at least for displays. And I also use like a weathered paint technique and some tissue paper glued onto the 3D print. And this already looks pretty cool, but I think arguably the other one looks a little better. And it took a lot less time as well, because like it took like 3 hours to print the stand, an hour each to print the legs of this custom thing, and then it took me a lot of time to glue and paint the tissue paper on top. The cool thing with this though is I did actually 3D print screws to attach the plastic to itself. I ended up just super gluing it though, because I forgot that 3D printed screws that are really tiny aren't very strong. So the screws themselves didn't last too long, but it was fun to learn. But yeah, I feel like I still need to learn a lot more about 3D printing to be able to create my own stuff. Like I can print stuff, but making it myself is a much different task. Peacock registration opens September 4th. That's coming up soon. Sorry, I'm not good at writing English. That's okay. I have my translation thing on, so I can read or Google is reading the Korean for me. Can you tell me what this? It's just action figure display. Let me put more links. So yeah, mostly if you see something in my stream, there's a good chance you can just find it on my website at some point. Not all the time, but there you go. I think it's just called Action Figure Display Stand. They don't sell this round one anymore. They're out of stock. It's Japanese. I haven't seen it on Amazon in a while, but I have a alternative one that should be there. And that's the square clear one, and those ones are nice. Yeah. He asked when Wilder Park 4 is coming out, and my answer is soon. Oh, wait, I read that comment already. Oops. Oh, Jason's. Oh, yeah, Jason's translating. Thank you, Jason. Will they come to India? I don't know. You can look at Amazon India for display stands, and you can check. Maybe I'll even do that right now. They have some. They have not the exact ones I have on my website, but they have the bulk ones, like the rectangle ones. So you can buy those on Amazon India. Keen bought some. Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, so I think we are going to end off the stream there, so that I can finish this tutorial. Detailed Howl's movie. Yeah, I know. Wasn't that crazy? But yes, thank you everybody for joining in the stream. I'm glad you got to see some of the craziness that the Origami-dan Death Battle has brought, like this. So I hope you enjoyed watching that, and I hope you will look forward to the next round so we can see what other craziness we have. And then if I have time, I'll edit this into a shorter video. But if not, hope you enjoyed this review. Thank you all for watching and tuning in. I hope you have an excellent weekend. Look forward to some more announcements coming up soon. There's Origami Palooza from Papertree. Shout out Papertree. I'm going to try to submit one of my own designs for their competition. And then I have my own competition. The Wyvern diagrams are still for sale. Physical copies at Papertree. There's just small versions. These are just my advertisement big ones. So those are for sale. They're also, the ebook is available for a very limited time on my website. You can buy it now, and you won't ever be able to buy it again, basically, after the competition is over, which it ends at the end of August. So if you're interested, you don't have to compete, but you can if you'd like. If you just want the diagrams, you should get them. Ebook, because you won't be able to get them again. You'll just be able to have the physical copies, which is still pretty good, right? I think physical copies are special, but if you live in a different country, it might be hard. If you live in Europe, they will ship. I have some being stocked at Origami Shop soon. I don't know exactly when. It might be after August. But if you are in the States, Papertree, you can buy them online on Papertree as well. I have a link on my website for the physical copies from Papertree. So go check that out. Thank you, everyone. Jason, yes, I want to see you submit. Gotta submit. And yeah, good seeing everybody. I will see y'all later. And boom. Thanks for watching.